this is Dr. Madiha Saeed, board certified integrative holistic family physician, also known as Holistic Mom MD. I'm here for you, right? And last week was a little crazy. I was out of the house all day long. Life happened. So I'm here for you to this time. We'll cover what I was supposed to do last week and answer any of the questions that you have. Hi, you guys. Give me the heart love when you come on. Thank you. This is so exciting. For those that don't know me, I am a board certified family physician and born and raised in Naperville, Illinois. So I've been here almost all my life. And right after residency, I graduated residency in 2010. And right after residency, I joined a medical practice where under one roof, there was me, an OBGYN, an internist, an exercise physiologist, nutritionist, counseling, chiropractor, massage therapy. I know! All under one roof, brought together for the complete healing of the whole person. A concept that was really weird to me because my brother's an interventional cardiologist. My sister's a pediatric ICU physician. And then I have cousins in like Harvard psychiatry and psychiatry in Florida and pediatrics. And then I have my brother's brother-in-law is a gastroenterologist. My brother-in-law is a neonatal ICU physician. So I have like literally all doctors in my family. And what's sad is that we were not taught one class of nutrition, unless I missed it during maternity leave, right? But we were not taught any nutrition. But realizing that actually just through nutrition, you can heal, you can keep your body balanced. Along with just lifestyle, you can keep your body balanced and heal not one symptom, but then all of them simultaneously. Because I myself dealt with thyroid issues. I was on Synthroid for 8 years of my life. Keyword was. I had a butterfly rash, I had acne, seborrheic dermatitis, solar lupus, my hair was falling out, digestive complaints, it was a mess. I felt miserable. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Thank you guys for jumping on. Yay! Give me your heart love. Please like and share this video so we can spread the message of hope and healing to those that need it most, because there's so many people suffering out there. And just to really, I'm here for them. I'm here for them. We're here. Thank you, Kathy. You too. So please like and share this video. I want your heart love. Yay. So please. So that's where I realized that once I was able to heal myself and patients over the last 9 years I've been doing this. I know I've been doing this for 9 years. It's crazy. So over the years, I realized that, you know what? We as doctors are not taught to really address the underlying root cause. Yes, we all know that inflammation is the root of your chronic conditions, because if you have allergies, we give you an anti-inflammatory, right? If you have knee arthritis, we give you an anti-inflammatory. Doctors know that inflammation is the underlying root cause of your symptom, but we just band-aid it. Why do we do such a thing? Why don't we look at the underlying root cause? One, because doctors do not get paid for how many people we heal. We get paid for how many people we see. My husband is a family physician. He has to see 28 patients in our day for our paycheck not to go half. Isn't that crazy? And so in a week he has to see 110 patients and get slapped on the wrist if he sees less than that. And so in 10 to 15 minutes, it's very difficult for us as physicians to really understand the root of your chronic conditions and figure out where your specific deficiencies may be that then leads to inflammation. So what's easier? To give them a pill. And plus, if doctors are not taught any nutrition, then we don't even think that that's a solution. Literally, when I had thyroid issues, when I had lupus, when I had all of these conditions, they're like, sorry, you're just going to have to let this disease live its course. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I have diseases that can possibly kill me. And you're just telling me that I have to just let this live its course? No. I was sick and tired of the medicinal. I was sick and tired of the Band-Aid approach. I wanted to take charge of my own health. And so therefore, I learned that we know that chronic conditions, no matter what you're dealing with, if you're dealing with headaches, schizophrenia, bipolar, autism, if you're dealing with digestive complaints, if you're dealing with constipation, diarrhea, IBS, if you're dealing with autoimmune disease, be it, rheumatoid arthritis, be it thyroid problems, be it, any other skin disorders like psoriasis, rosacea, acne, all of these conditions are due to your underlying root cause of inflammation. I know. And so inflammation, let's talk about this. Let's recap because it's been a while. For all those people that are listening, please like and share this video. Give me your heart love. Tell me that you're here. I want to know where you're from. I want to say hi to you. I want to give you kisses back. Too bad virtual hug. I love it. I want to know where you're from. Tell me hi. Tell me what you're dealing with as a family. I want to know. So we have inflammation, right? Inflammation, there's two types. So we know inflammation, but inflammation is that thing that we're all familiar with, right? It actually means fire inside. Thank you guys for the heart love. It means fire inside. And it's something that, again, we're all familiar with. And it's that like fierce, life-saving reaction that occurs when your body's immune system, right, tries to fight off infections, help heal yourself from injuries, and then also protect us from disease. So without inflammation, we would be like sitting ducks in a hostile world. But guess what? There are two different types of inflammation. There's acute inflammation and chronic inflammation. Acute inflammation is a good thing, right? And that's like we know that your body's working appropriately, right? It's that like, it's just your body as if like if you get hurt, if you get a cut, all of that stuff. Oh, hey, Mary! So then we have is chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation is too much of a good thing. It's bad inflammation, where it's also referred to as systemic inflammation. And on the other hand, that sort of gradually destroys this fire, this magnificent masterpiece that we were born with. It's that hidden, smoldering fire that's created by your body's immune system as it tries to fight off unhealthy foods, stresses, toxins, allergens, and overgrowth of bad bugs, and even low-grade infections, right? That drive then obesity and chronic disease. So all of those, so we need to decrease the overall inflammation because guess what? So let's say if you were dealing with, let's go through some of these. Mary, hi Mary. Mary is dealing with sciatica and TMJ. Ooh, ow. Thank you guys for the heart love. I love it. Yay. Mary, so all of these conditions, I have another, Susan is dealing with Hashimoto's. I've been there, done that. Sophia says, hi from Memphis, Tennessee. Hi! Salma is like, oh, how are you guys? So all of these chronic conditions, so either it be allergies, sciatica, arthritis, depression, anxiety, unable to sleep, headaches, constipation, diarrhea, all of these symptoms are, guess what, you guys, are due to the underlying root cause of inflammation. So guess what? If we are able to lower the inflammation, we can heal not one symptom, but then all of them simultaneously. I know, crazy. So, I'm fasting, so that's why I need a little bit of water. Last day of fasting. Tomorrow's our main holiday, Eid, where we get to party and eat responsibly, remember. But so deficits in any of these. So now let me go ahead and show you my chart. Yay! Okay, so deficits in any of these, right? Let's show you here. So deficits in any of these can lead to this fire. Look how sad she looks. Can lead to this fire that leads to chronic disease. I know it's backwards. It's because I got it on the selfie mode. But deficits in any of these. So this is really that simple, you guys. All I do is, in order to help people get back in balance, because inflammation is basically your body off balance. So just by putting yourself back in balance, we can heal not one symptom, but then all of them simultaneously. Isn't that crazy? So let's do this. So let's go through these. That will help put you back into balance. And as I go through these, quickly, you need to figure out exactly where your specific deficiencies may be. Okay? So we have, for all of my patients, I always start off with spirituality, because we are what we think. Literally, we are what we eat, we are what we think. And if we are more negative and frustrated with life, then we have high inflammatory markers. But if we are happy with our life and appreciative of our life and gratitude and in peace with our bodies, everything we can lower inflammatory markers, you can turn genes on and off, you can lose weight, you can improve everything, make hormones working better, everything. So it is really important immediately when you wake up in the morning, say 10 things that you're thankful for, to keep our subconscious positive instead of negative. It's basically like getting off on the right side of the bed, right? We know that works. Then we have is keep people around you, because love truly does heal. Love heals. So I want all the love. Tell me where you're from. Tell me who in your life is the most loving, and who that you love to stay around with. And I want to know who the people are in your life that give you joy and that lift you up and not drag you down, right? In my house, it's my mother and my siblings, right? They really drag me up. Like they are my support system. I love them, right? And so they, everybody else too, but specifically like super, super love. Like my mother is the super, super love. Really? and obviously, then I have like the best family, right? I just saw Deva Baji come on. Mwah, shout out to Deva Baji. I love, like, literally my family and my family, specifically like my 3 cousins, and then my siblings and my mother and my father have really lifted me up and given me the support system that I need to thrive. And I love you, baby Budgie. I got you. I love you so much. Okay, so then we have love. So keep those people around you, right? That will lift you up, not drag you down. Sleep. We need to optimize our sleep. No matter how, I have 4 kids, 10, 7, 5, and now 3. He just turned 3. Isn't that crazy? So I try to keep sleep a priority because it lowers inflammatory markers. It helps my body heal. You can literally heal in your sleep. Then we have stress. Incorporating a daily stress management technique into your daily routine can help you keep those damaging hormones at bay. So either it be meditation, yoga, exercise, whatever you want to do in the bedroom. All of that, right, can help you de-stress. Then we have is your gut. So we want our gut as healthy as possible because 70 to 80% of your immune system lies in the gut. We have 100 trillion bacteria that line the gut lining. All of that. So we have your health is determined by the symbiotic relationship and the diversity of our gut microbiome, which is our gut bacteria. So we need to make sure that we keep and feed these gut bacteria the best, and we'll talk about that. Because anytime you put food in your mouth, you want to make sure that it keeps the gut healthy, hormones balanced and insulin balanced, and is the most nutrient-dense foods for you, right? So those are the specific things that you really want to concentrate on, and that is your vegetables, protein, and healthy fats. Stay away from the foods that we talked about. So the foods that we want to stay away from are gluten. So gluten, why? Because gluten has been genetically modified. There have been studies where that actually causes chronic illness because it causes something called leaky gut syndrome that leads to chronic illness. I talk about that in detail in my previous Facebook Lives. And so you want to avoid all those packaged, anything with artificial flavors and gluten can be like hiding in everything, including body products. So you want to try to stay away from that. Then we have is avoid sugar. And sugar, again, lowers your inflammatory markers, feeds the bad bugs, all that, but lowers your, it causes more inflammation. And so I would avoid sugar. And those specifically, you can find sugar in like everything. So brown rice syrup, dextrose, glucose, dextran, lactose, disaccharides, fructose, high fructose corn syrup. Stay far away from that because that in and of itself has shown the association to increase insulin resistance, which causes prediabetes and advanced aging, and it causes all these chronic conditions, to heart disease and dementia, leads to premature death. Yikes! And guess what? What are we giving our kids on a regular basis? Sugar. Say no to sugar. Just keep that far away from our children, especially daily. And then you really want to make sure you stay away from all of those processed junk fast foods. Like all that white stuff, like the white flours, the white breads, the cookies, the baked, because all of those have a very high glycemic index. And it's full with all these partially hydrogenated oils and genetically modified, and it's all genetically modified, so actually causes a lot of problems and leads to inflammation. So we want to stay far away from that. I stay away from soy. 90% of soy is genetically modified, and so our digestive system doesn't really recognize it anymore. Because its molecules remain unbroken, leading to leaky gut, as it stimulates the production of antibodies, food sensitivities, inflammation. It also it contains inhibitors that shut down the digestion of proteins, causing gastric discomfort and reducing the absorption of amino acids and minerals such as calcium, iron, magnesium, zinc. So it also actually disrupts endocrine system and leads to dysregulation of the thyroid and the estrogen, and interferes with leptin, which basically is a hormone for satiation, and so therefore makes you overeat. So that's the case. So if you're going to eat soy, it's better to eat the fermented soy, like temp, and because that then what happens when you ferment it, it actually breaks down the indigestible carbohydrate that dissolves the protein digestion inhibitors, right? So that's the kind of thing. So I stay far away from soy. And then we have is corn. I would stay away from corn. So corn, because I keep corn as treats, right? Because corn can actually contribute to leaky gut and most of it again is genetically modified. Especially if you have problems with gluten, then I would really stay away from corn because it has the potential for like cross reactivity of gluten. Again, 90% of the corn is genetically modified, and it's present in everything. Like we have soy and corn, all processed foods. This is why I have people stay away from processed foods, because like we have like high fructose corn syrup and corn oil and cornstarch, and it's even being fed to our livestock and our poultry. And then actually what it does is that it leads to inflammatory saturated fats. And we don't want that, because that in and of itself also leads to insulin resistance and prediabetes and inflammation. So it opens up an entire slew of problems. Alcohol. It's just another form of sugar. No alcohol in our diets. Then we have is food additives. Oh my gosh, these food additives, these artificial, our gut does not recognize these as food. If it says artificial anything, we shouldn't be putting it in our kids' bodies. And this is what's blowing my mind, is that because all of these artificial fake foods that are not pure, these are impure foods, all these impure foods are actually causing inflammation. The food additives cause uncontrollable hunger and binge eating, and MSG that is found in all these, in like some spices, or just if you go out to eat, a lot of them have MSG. Why? Because it damages your gut flora. It causes headaches, allergies, artificial sweeteners and flavors, right? All of that leads to insulin resistance and prediabetes. Then we have sulfides. Those lead to allergies and inflammation. We have, carrageenan, right? Causes leaky gut and inflammation. Then we have even just like microwave popcorn. That actually contains like a synthetic chemical linked to cancer. It's called PFOA. So we really, and as a hormone disruptor, so we really want to make sure we take all of these things out of our bodies, because even like pesticides, and that is what I really wanted to talk about specifically when it comes to organic and non-organic, right? Organic food is nutritious. Yes, it is. So it does contain more vitamins, minerals, enzymes, micronutrients that are than conventionally grown foods. It also doesn't have these pesticides, because did you guys know in 2015, glyphosate, that is found, as like one of the major pesticides, glyphosate was linked to cancer by the World Health Organization and the International Agency for Research on Cancer? Isn't that crazy? So then we have is pesticides, right? These pesticides were actually engineered to contain Bt toxin, which kills the insects by destroying their digestive lining, right? So that is what we have to understand. So in order to understand organic versus non-organic, you really need to know what the difference is. And one, yes, it doesn't have pesticides, right? Because these pesticides, so the pesticides were engineered to contain Bt toxins, which kill the insects by destroying their digestive lining. So when they destroy their digestive lining, and glyphosate actually doubles as an antibiotic. So glyphosate is like that Monsanto that everybody, or like just Roundup, right? That everybody puts on. That actually doubles as an antibiotic that then disrupts our guts bacteria. This pesticide actually disrupts the microbiome. So basically that balance that we're talking about, these pesticides lead to an imbalance of the bacteria that lead to chronic diseases. And these pesticides actually also compromise the ability to detoxify. Isn't that crazy? So we're not even detoxifying properly because of these pesticides that we're being exposed to. And so the pesticides, they halter detoxification. They go and they deplete vitamin D. Isn't that crazy? And then other key nutrients. And they can actually also mimic hormones that can lead, like estrogen, that can lead to cancers. So the pesticides can actually lead to a 4-fold increase of celiac disease and other autoimmune conditions, according to 270 studies compiled by MIT in 2013. Now tell me that's not scary. So when we choose to eat more organic, you're avoiding all of these dangerous chemicals that are obesogens, that make us, we're wondering why we're gaining weight. It's because, and these chemicals are, remember we talked about how they replicate estrogens and lead to cancers. They disrupt the hormonal systems. They actually make it harder to lose weight. They cause more chronic diseases because they don't let you detoxify. So you actually, just by eating organic, yes, that's more nutritious. And then you also try to avoid these chemicals, and especially when it comes to children. Their brains and their bodies are not meant to tolerate all of these thousands of chemicals that are constantly putting in their bodies. There is an amazing organization called Documenting Hope. And Documenting Hope is a national organization dedicated to heal chronic disease in children. And I volunteer for them. And because what they're doing is they're healing 14 children and then reverse engineering it so then we can do it for everybody. And the head of one of the main organizers of that is a pediatric neurologist at Harvard. Her name is Dr. Martha Herbert. And she is even like the advocate of the reason why our children are getting sick. They say 1 out of every 4 children will have autism by 2033 if we do not stop what's going on now. And it's because we are constantly bombarding our children's bodies with all of these toxins in all of the directions. And not even just our children, us, right? We are being bombarded. Did you know that our makeup has hormone disruptors in it? Everything that we like, what we cook in, everything has hormone disruptors in it. So so in order to really raise healthy, happy children and families and heal disease from the inside out, we need to try whatever we have in our control to try to keep those damaging hormones at bay by staying as clean, as organic as possible. And I know it's costly, but we're going to talk about that in a bit, right? So organic is actually not just good for you, but it's also good for the environment, right? So because we're not putting all that genetically modified stuff. And actually, did you guys know that 80% of the antibiotics sold in America are used not for sick people? 80, let me say this again. Scary. 80% of the antibiotics sold in America are not used for treating people, but it is to raise our meat and our poultry. So this is then fueling, right? This is then fueling the hard to kill antibiotic resistant germs that can sicken or even kill humans, right? And so the residues of these artificial hormones that are widely used to promote growth in beef and cattle and dairy and cows and sheep may actually increase the risk of ill health in humans and can lead to a higher rates of infections in animals. So it is, I know. So this is why we need to really find what we put in our bodies should be clean. And that's why focusing on like an organic. So that was just a side note, right? Of all the artificial and the pesticides. Because even the other things that we should also try to avoid is refined oils, hydrogenated oils, trans fats. Because did you guys know that trans fats can lead to inflammation and immune dysfunction? They actually increase the bad cholesterol and lower good cholesterol, raising risk of heart disease. They promote obesity. Remember when we had that like no fat and we started getting more margarine? No, we don't want to do that. They promote obesity, insulin resistance, causing diabetes, type 2, cancers, dementia, right? So we got it. Trans fats are like that margarine, the shortening, the spreads, or anything hydrogenated, and are commonly found in like refined baked goods, right? Because so I would avoid vegetable oils like corn, soybean, canola, safflower, sunflower, because all of these vegetable oils are specifically partially hydrogenated oils. And guess what? 90% of the canola oil is from genetically modified plants. And these oils are actually pro-inflammatory. Pro-inflammatory as in they actually have a lot more omega-6s. And these omega-6 fats lead to gut dysfunction, leading to leaky gut, interfering with normal cell metabolism, and are hazardous to health, increasing our chances of heart disease. OMG. So the imbalance, because we're getting so much more omega-6s in our diet, that omega-6s in our diet creates an imbalance between the omega-3s and the omega-6s. And has been shown to depress the immune function, right? And actually contributes to weight gain and leads to chronic diseases and inflammation. Oh my gosh. So omega-3s can be eaten to help correct that ratio. So ideally, because we're eating so many processed foods, these processed foods are leading to this imbalance, right? So therefore, we really want to make sure that we increase our omega-3s and keep our omega-6s as low as possible to fight disease and our health and even stop premature aging, right? And then we have is dairy. Oh my gosh, so let me talk about dairy, right? I know I talked about dairy in a little bit more detail, so you guys can go through my previous Facebook Lives. For everybody just joining us, welcome. I'm a board certified family physician, author of the book, The Holistic RX, Your Guide to Healing Chronic Inflammation and Disease. I know it's like huge. But we're talking about what things that we should avoid and why. And so we talked about the gluten, the grains, the dairy, the soy, the corn, the genetically modified, the artificial stuff, the pesticides and anything. bad, but specifically dairy. Okay. So dairy, most people in my practice cannot tolerate dairy. I have not met a single person that could really, really tolerate a lot of dairy, right? Unless they're really healthy, but if they have a chronic condition, I get dairy out of their system. Especially those with leaky gut, as it can trigger inflammation, weight gain. Dairy can lead to weight gain. I know specifically when I start doing dairy, I start to pack on the pounds, right? And even leads to chronic disease. But there's hope, because once you've healed, then you can slowly add those things back in, right? Like for example, in my house, I know we use a lot of raw dairy, so you can add those things back in. But the problem is that this dairy product actually weakens the gut bacteria. And actually a lot of people, because of the hormones that it releases and the chemicals that are in it or whatever is fed, the cheeses that we get, that they feed the cows and all that stuff, actually it causes insulin resistance. It causes problems with disrupting your hormonal imbalances, insulin resistance, leads to something called estrogen dominance that can lead to a lot of chronic conditions, right? Including like hormonal imbalances and infertility and fibroids and all of that stuff. So really trying to stay away from dairy, specifically like all of the conventional dairy, will really help anybody put their hormones back into balance. And if you are going to be doing dairy, like because a lot of times what happens with dairy is that we're not able to digest it properly. But once you are able to digest and your gut is working sufficiently, what we want to do is we want to try to do like goat kefir, right? You want to start off with that, or raw milk from like Jersey cows that are from a certified, because all of those actually modulate epigenetics. So yes, dairy is good, right? But it has to be like the grass-fed dairy, the raw dairy that you just want to like low heat boiling preserves the milk benefits. And so it's better than high heat boiling. Other alternatives, if you're not doing dairy, are like coconut milk, and we could do coconut milk kefir, which is also great antifungal, antiviral properties. There's almond milk, right? Almond milk, and then we have is bad LDL. It actually helps lower the bad LDL, and it supports cardiovascular health, and it helps to heal leaky gut. So good dairy is good, but bad dairy is bad. So we really just got to stay away from all the conventional dairy and really stick with the raw organic stuff as best as possible. Because most people, and Nazia just asked about grass-fed butter, most people can tolerate grass-fed butter and ghee. As we have great antioxidants and good fats in it, like CLA, which boosts the metabolism, but avoiding it for somebody with serious dairy allergies. Another big question I get specifically when it comes to dairy is that, oh my God, am I going to get calcium deficient, right? Because like literally we've been brainwashed that that's the only place that calcium comes from. So for calcium necessary for bone health, you can actually, so calcium is necessary for bone health. But guess what also has calcium in it? Flax seeds, spinach, sardines, walnuts, Brazil nuts, greens, right? Mustard and collards, sesame seeds, wild salmon, broccoli, kale, all have great sources of calcium. So have no fear that you have the calcium through these delicious plant-based foods. And salmon, so plant and animal based. But then we also want to try to avoid drinks specifically like soda, sugar, that is like lemonade, any sweetened beverages, any of that, like fruit juice even has too much sugar. Then we have, last thing that I'm going to quickly talk about, is the grains, right? Because I know we talked about gluten, so I know that gluten is bad. But what about grains? Why grains, right? I'm originally Pakistani, so believe me, we do a lot of rice and bread in our diets. And I really looked for every possible avenue to find any benefit in grains. But I don't give my kids grains on a daily basis. Why? Because if they eat grains, they don't eat their vegetables. And I have found no significant, I have not found any benefit in grains, any nutritional benefits. So because grains have been a part, so it's like but let's talk about what grains are. Grains are actually the edible part of the plant with the seed, with the embryo. And the plant produces like a natural insecticide. Okay, John. I'll be back. Okay. Okay, coming. So this plant produces a natural insecticide to help pass the undigested, to help the grain pass undigested through the animal system, right? The truth is that all grains are sort of anti-nutrients. They contain phytates, preventing your body from absorbing the nutrients and the minerals like calcium, magnesium, iron, zinc, and from potassium. So it also decreases the absorption of and digestion of fats, proteins, starches, and leads to deficiencies of key nutrients that the body really needs. So actually grains can lead to leaky gut and feed the unfriendly bacteria, damaging the intestinal cells. Grains can be really problematic because they also contain amylopectins that causes blood sugar rises. That's why anybody with prediabetes, I tell them get off of grains completely. It increases actually belly fat and leads to inflammation, and lectins and then lectins is also a natural insecticide that is also can be found in oats and corns and quinoa, and can lead to leaky gut. So basically it has all of these problems, specifically with somebody, and it also can feed those bad bacteria. The list goes on, and actually can also lead to increasing weight gain and irritability. Seeds and seeds-bearing grains can also, we talked about the amylase inhibitors, they actually block specific enzymes that in your body to break down protein. So the list goes on and on and on about why grains are not needed to sustain, I'm going to say this again, grains are not needed to sustain a healthy existence free of disease. So, we do not need grains. There's really no nutritional. My kids do it once in a while as treats when they go to Nana's house, right? They do it as a treat. So I'm not completely opposed to it. I do it on occasion, maybe once in a while. You start with once a day, and then if you do, because I really want you to focus on the tons of vegetables, protein, and healthy fats. Because if you have a chronic condition, I want all of these things out of your diet. Because once you heal as tolerate, then you can add grains back in. Yay! Right? Because sprouting, when you sprout the grains, it actually makes it easier to digest and the nutrients to easily absorb. And it deactivates the phytic acid that's there, and it increases the dietary fiber by 50%. So those are the kinds of things that I would once you heal, you can start to add grains back in. Like buckwheat, sorghum, quinoa, millet, amaranth, corn, oats, rice, and even sourdough. Sourdough breads for fermented, right? That's all these things that you can have on occasion. I keep it as treats for my kids because I realized, again, in my family that if I give them grains, they don't eat their vegetable, protein, healthy fats. And that is what's really key to existence. That's what you need to really stay disease-free and stay as healthy as possible, right? Sometimes there's other foods like eggs. A lot of our patients, most can tolerate eggs, but some can't. So you really want to make sure that legumes, again, I have my people avoid grains, dairy, sugar, processed foods, gluten, and soy. And then if they're still not getting better, then I'll add the second layer in of taking nightshades out, right? And what are nightshades? Those are vegetables like bell peppers and eggplants and spices like cayenne pepper, paprika, red pepper flakes. If you have problems like arthritis issues, most of my patients, again, can eat legumes. But again, if you still are not getting better, they still do have some the lectins and phytic acids. And, it's an entire world out there that can confuse you. But But if you're still having problems despite that, you can try to see if removing that will help, specifically caffeine. Though some may be able to tolerate caffeine in small amounts, but caffeine actually can cause a lot of problems with insomnia and mood disorders. So you really want to make sure that you're the type of person that doesn't have anxiety or insomnia or mood disorders, because if you do, because then caffeine can contribute to it. If you're feeling like it's leading to anxiety or insomnia, trying to wean off of the caffeine would be a good idea. And to make sure you're drinking lots of water during this time. If you're trying to wean very slowly. Taking vitamin C can help you wean off of that, can help decrease the withdrawal effects of the headaches. And also, again, we talked about sugar. All these things can also help with the sugar cravings. So I know I went through a lot, and that's where the digestive health comes into play here, and the nutrition, because you want to make sure that these foods, remember, vegetables, protein, healthy fats, will help to keep your hormones balanced, your gut balanced, and is the most nutrient-dense foods for you. Then we have is those toxins, and that's where we have all those toxins in our body. We're going to talk about that in upcoming Facebook Live, so stay tuned. But again, there's so many toxins that will numb your body to insulin, that will actually increase problems. And specifically today's talk, we're going to talk about organic vegetables and fruits and meats. Try to be as organic as possible. I know it's really expensive, but there is actually a dirty dozen and a clean 15 put out every year by the Environmental Working Group. And so this year's, you guys can look it up. Those are the foods that I really want you to try to be organic with. Make sense? Like for example, the worst pesticides are strawberries. I will not give my kids, even if like somebody buys it, I cannot like give my kids, my oldest son, actually, they all call it the pesticide fruit, because there's so many pesticides in strawberries. Then we have spinach, nectarines, apples, grapes, peaches, cherries, pears, tomatoes, celery, potatoes, sweet bell peppers. All of those are on your high list of the dirty dozen. And we can't all be perfect, so please don't stress about this, because I have had people heal despite being organic. Like, I've had people heal. So if you can't afford it, don't. But if you can, try to stick with whatever you can, and at least try to get the things organic in the dirty dozen. You don't have to buy from specialty stores. You can buy from any Walmart, or you can buy from basically any Myers, Jewel. You can buy from all these stores. Check the sales prices. They all have really affordable organic vegetables and fruits, and even organic foods. Like you can buy organic chickens. You can buy all of those things. Try to do as organic as possible. For those that eat outside meat, that organic chicken at Whole Foods, $9.99. You can't get better than that, right? $9.99 for organic chicken. And then what I do is you take the meat out. You can use the bones, right, for your broths. Awesome, just for $9.99. So it can be really cost effective also. Then we have is your clean 15, right? And those are your avocados and your pineapples, your cabbages, onions, sweet peas, papayas, asparagus, mangoes, eggplants, honeydews, kiwis, cantaloupes, cauliflower, broccoli. So if you just Google clean 15 Environmental Working Group, initials are EWG 2018. Every year they come out with a new list. So I went through a lot, but I wanted to give you guys hope, right? That you do what you could possibly do, because stress also causes problems. So you only do what you can do. I will go ahead and answer some questions. Thank you guys for all of I still want to know where you're from. I want to know your questions. I want to know your answer. I want to know everything. I just want you to say hi. I see a lot of people on. Thank you guys for your time. I am so truly honored with your time. I know you could be doing so many other things, because time is so valuable. So I am so thankful that you are here. And I am here for you. So we have is dealing with Hashimoto's. Again, lowering this. My book is called The Holistic RX, Your Guide to Healing Chronic Inflammation and Disease. I actually talk about Hashimoto's specifically here on page 137, Hashimoto's. So I hope that helps And then we have, yay. Thank you, Melissa. You're awesome. Nazia says 1 month I've been suffering from a kind of rib pain. The pain that goes, is that inflammation? Yep. Because what do you do for pain? Pain, you give you an anti-inflammatory. So guess what? We have inflammation. So just by all of this, you can lower that inflammation too. And actually there's a book that's really good. It's called No Grain, No Pain. And I would definitely look into that because grains do cause a lot of problems. Khairul, I need help. I'm here to help you. So please just let me know how I can help. Farzana says, good one. Yeah, I know, right? Sarah says, if not sugar, then is brown okay? No, I would really stick to just honey and raw maple syrup. If you need to do coconut sugar, date sugar. So those are a little bit better. And stay away from the sugar. Ashraf says, Assalamu alaikum, sister. I just received your book, The Holistic RX. Haven't gotten it. Will do so after Ramadan. Any special advice on what to eat or drink the time of the gout attack? Yes. So celery juice is really good at time of, and then taking those supplements like fish oil, vitamin D, probiotics, all of that, lowering the overall inflammation, eating tons of vegetables, protein, healthy fats, removing all these foods that we just talked about will help you with those symptoms, inshallah, hopefully. God willing. So inshallah means God willing. My son is recovering from a disc bulge, trying to help him heal faster, not doing gluten, dairy, grains. Yes, making sure that you optimize his deficiencies, eating lots of vegetables, making sure he's getting his vitamin D, magnesium, fish oil, probiotics will all help Karen. And then I love you, Auntie Aisha. I love you, Aisha Muhaddin. Hi. And then we have Fran says, good day. I know, Aisha, right? Is it crazy? And then we have Nicole says, what about some oils that are expeller or organic? So I would really try to stick with the organic oils. Like even if I do olive oil, I get the organic. Even coconut oil, I'll do the organic. And then Madiha said, what vitamins should be taken every day for men and women? So I have all my patients start off with making sure they all have, remember, talk to your doctor. Facebook advice is not medical advice. It's just for your information to empower you. But to make sure that fish oil is a great source that I put 90% of my patients on. Magnesium, 400 milligrams per day. If you're not deficient, that's something, again, talk to your doctor about. Vitamin D and a probiotic is the main supplements that I do myself and put on my children. Melissa says, I am not lactose intolerant, but have significant reaction to cases. I have Hashimoto's. I plan being gluten-free for life. Would you recommend to keep dairy out permanently? So, yes. I took it out because all of these foods can actually weaken your gut flora. When you have some like an inflammatory food that you know you're reacting to that, you have to first take it out because those inflammatory foods will cause your gut to be inflamed, and that inflammation can lead to further inflammation, right? That can lead to chronic diseases of every stripe. So really trying to focus on trying to get all those inflammatory foods out. If it bothers you, let's get it out of your system. So I hope that helps, Melissa. Teresa says, what are your thoughts on monk fruit for sweetener? I don't use it that often. It is better. It is okay. Again, I just stick with honey and maple syrup and coconut sugar the best because that one still raises some of your insulin levels. Well, so does honey and all that. But honey and all that have a lot more. They have a lot more benefits. Can't I eat buckwheat when I'm trying to heal the gut? I would try to avoid it just for now because everybody is different. I mean, again, we can do tons of testing. If you go to any other functional medicine doctor, they're going to do like $2,000 worth of testing first on you. That's not usually the way I might approach because not everybody can afford that. So really trying to first get all of the foods out that could be anti-inflammatory, and then slowly add back things once you start to heal all your symptoms. So I hope that helps. Khairul said, yeah, are you having, so if you're having dizziness, palpitations, anxiety, how would you investigate? So I would get my book first, because it's all written in here. Try to remember, go through all the pieces of the puzzle that I would just talked about here, removing all grains, all dairy, all sugar. It could also be due to the fact that you're pre-diabetes. So again, talking to your doctor to check like a CBC, a CMP, fasting blood glucose, which comes in a CMP, fasting insulin, hemoglobin A1C, magnesium, B12, fasting lipids, HSCRP, homocysteine. All of that can really help to figure out your underlying root cause. I hope that helps. And then we have is eczema, allergies, white patches. What do you recommend? It's inflammation related. So lowering all of this can help your body put you back into balance and help heal not one symptom, but then all of it. Allergies, eczema, rashes, even the white patches. So I hope that helps. My son has had eczema and allergies. So just by removing all the grains, all the dairy, all sugar, processed foods, really helping supporting his gut flora really helps. So I hope that helps. Alyssa says, doctor, what is the best vitamins to take? We just talked about that. So I hope that helps. Vitamin D, fish oil. Thank you for all you do. Oh my gosh, thank you, Alyssa. This is my honor. I am just so honored that you guys have the time to talk, listen, and I'm so honored that I can help you guys. And then thank you guys so much. Thank you guys. I'm going to head out back. A probiotic, last question. So probiotic, there's a lot of different ones, specifically what your individual need. The more diverse the probiotic, the better. So that's what's key in that. And even just probiotics, you can go fermented vegetables, right? You want to just, and the different types of fermented vegetables, you can have fermented carrots, you can have fermented beets, you can have, and all of that will have different strains of bacteria in it. So the more bacteria that it has on it, so then it will really help to heal the gut lining that will then heal your symptoms. So I hope that has helped. I will be back again next Thursday. And thank you guys for your heart love. Please tell me where you're from. I'm going to keep on checking these. I will please share and like this video, because there's so many people out there that are so desperate for any type of relief or any type of improvement or any type of hope. And that's what I would like to help people with, to give them that hope. So please like and share this video. They can ask questions. You can like and share this video. You can share it with doctors. I have studies behind this book. I teach doctors on a regular basis. So thank you guys for your time and the honor. Eid Mubarak to all of my Muslim population. And happy June for everybody else. Can't wait to see you guys next week. And in the meantime, send me all your questions. Bye, you guys.